All right, hello everyone. So, if your book club is on the hunt for a read that's going to spark some serious conversation, you have definitely come to the right place. Today, we're digging into a book with an idea so big, it might just change how you see, well, pretty much everything. Let's get you prepped.
You know, the best book club nights are the ones that leave you buzzing, right? Where you're still thinking about the ideas long after all the wine is gone. Well, this book is exactly that. It's not just a good read, it's a challenge. It's like getting a whole new pair of glasses for looking at the world.
The book is called Capital Redefined, and it's built around this single, powerful idea that completely reframes our biggest global problems. And we're not talking about some dry academic theory here. This is a real, practical way to make sense of things. So, yeah, let's get you ready for that big debate.
So where do the authors even begin with a topic this huge? Well, they go straight for the foundation. They say that to really get a handle on our biggest crises, we have to first stop and question something we never think about, the very concept of value itself. And here's their first big claim. All these huge things, the climate emergency, the massive gap between rich and poor, social unrest, they argue these aren't separate, random problems we're trying to solve. Nope, they're all just symptoms, all rising from one single, much deeper issue.
And this right here, this is the idea that's going to fuel your whole discussion. The authors are convinced the root cause of it all is our completely broken definition of value. It's a crisis in what we chase, what we build, and what we all agree is worth something.
And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, the authors point to the more than $530 trillion in global assets. But look, their point isn't just the jaw-dropping number, it's that this massive amount of so-called value is held by a tiny fraction of people and is mostly aimed at making more profit, not making life better for everyone. It's the perfect example of the distortion they're talking about.
Okay, so far, idea of value is broken. What do we do? Well, first, the authors say we need a proper diagnosis. And for that, they give us this amazing tool, a way to split our whole concept of value into two completely opposite forces.
You're going to want to pay close attention here because this is the absolute heart of the entire book. On one side, you've got fetish value. Think of it like empty calorie value. It's created by capital just to make a profit. It looks great on a spreadsheet, sure, but the authors argue it's life-negating. It actually leaves us poorer in the things that really matter. But then, on the other side, you have true value. This is the stuff that actually nourishes us. It's life-affirming. It comes from our shared resources, what they call the commons, and it's sustainable. Understanding this clash, fetish value versus true value, that is the key to everything.
So how does that good stuff, that true value, get turned into fetish value? Well, the authors have a word for it: decommonization. Imagine a beautiful public park. That's a source of true value for a whole community, right? Decommonization is when that park gets sold to a developer to build luxury condos. The land is turned into a source of fetish value, profit, but its original life-sustaining purpose for everyone is just gone.
And this way of thinking is really getting people's attention. As the academic Hans Bayer puts it, the book's real power is showing the difference between the illusory allure of fetish value and the inherent worth of true value. You see, it's not just tearing things down, it's offering a real vision for something better.
Okay, so if fetish value is all about capital, where does true value actually come from? The authors say it flows from something they call the four fundamental commons. Honestly, this might be the most fascinating part of the book. The authors pinpoint four interconnected sources for all true value. First up, creativity. That's our shared genius to invent and create stuff. Then there's livability, which is pretty straightforward, a healthy planet that can actually support us. The third is conviviality, our basic ability to care for each other and live well as a community. And finally, alterity. And this one's a little mind-bending. It's our collective power to imagine a totally different future and then actually make it happen. The key thing to get is that these aren't separate buckets. True value really only thrives when all four are healthy and working together.
And this is so important. A common isn't just a thing to be used up, like a forest or a pile of coal. They see it as a living, breathing organism. It's a dynamic system where one for all for one isn't just a nice phrase. It's literally the engine that creates and regenerates true value. That's why decommonization is so damaging. It's not just taking a resource, it's wounding a living system.
So, we've got the diagnosis, we know the source of what makes us healthy. Where does that leave us? What's the prescription for fixing this crisis of value?
It all builds to this one central and pretty radical argument.
A future that's actually sustainable and fair is impossible until we liberate value from the grip of capital.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it means reversing the damage. Instead of decommonization, we need to push for a massive recommonization. And that's an active choice, a conscious decision, to protect and rebuild those four fundamental commons: our creativity, our planet, our communities, and our power to dream of a better world.
This is why reviewers like Jamie Morgan are calling it essential reading. The book doesn't just complain about the present. It gives us a language and a blueprint for imagining and then building whatever comes next. And that brings us to the perfect question to kick off your book club discussion. If the authors are right, and all true value comes from these four comments, which one do you think is the most urgent one to start rebuilding right now in our own communities? I'll leave you with that one. Enjoy the conversation.